there is a summary of that. I mean, how this particular English language has been originated. So we are going to talk about this origination of this particular language and the families it actually belong to. So we will come to the families in the next class, or maybe at the end of this class. First of all, we will try to know the ancestry of this particular English language. That is in 5th unit, evolution of English. No, sorry. It is already in 4th unit also. So if we will go to page number 43, there you will find that early history of Britain. Okay. Early history of Britain. So once we will discuss about it, and then we will go to the tree diagram of Indo-European languages from where we actually have this particular English language. Okay. Is it clear? So it is also matching with your book and the content as well. That is unit 4, the evolution of English language. And now we are going to talk about the early history of Britain. That is there in your book in page number 43. Did you find it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now the first question that can come into your mind, or that may pop up into your mind when we are talking about the origination of English language or the origin of England, the first language that may come into your mind is that who were the early speakers of English and where please mute yourself. Okay. So this is the first question that may arise into our mind, isn't that? Even if you are asking a person who is not an Indian, and if you will ask someone or who is not from Telangana, if you'll ask him or her that, okay, who are the Telugu people and where do they live, there will be a general common answer that will be popping up in your mind, and that will be very easy to say that, okay, these are the Telugu, those who belong to Telangana are called Telugu people and they speak in Telugu. That's very true. This is the obvious answer that can arise from in our mind. But this is not the case in English language. This is not the case of English language. I have mentioned here a few points. Like first one is arrival of Celts, arrival and departure of Roman Empire, arrival of Angles, Saxon and Jutes, arrival of Saint Augustine, invasion of Vikings, Danes, Norsemen, the Roman conquest, feudalism, and Renaissance. These are some of the points that will make you understand the history of English language and the English civilization. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now tell me, let me take you back to the history or to the genesis of that particular land that is known as England. Okay. Now, we are counting the dates or the time after the birth of Christ, right? Or after BC, that's what we used to say. That is BC means before Christ, and after Christ means AD. So it's 2022. So before 2022 years, England was a land which was not occupied by any of the tribes or any of human civilization. You got it? So England was an open land, and during that time, shifting cultivation was happening. Shifting cultivation means some of the nomadic people will be there, the tribal people will be there, and they were actually taking their families from one place to another so that they can survive, they can earn food. Okay. Suppose I have a family and I am belonging to a particular tribe. I do not connect it with the modern world. I'm not connected with the modern world. So what I will do, I will follow the traditional rule or system. So some 2000 years ago, some 2000 or 2,500 years ago, some of the people, those who were the tribals, they came across that particular land which is now known as Britain or England or the Great Britain. It was completely an open land. Live transcription close. Yes, no, okay. Is it visible, the presentation? Is it visible? Can you please let me know?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, no, right?
It's not visible.
Just a minute.
So may I know the exactly page number, like which one we are discussing?
We are discussing page number 43, the
Okay.
early history of English, early Britain. Here I have mentioned unit 4, the evolution of English, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we were talking about how this particular language that we are studying right now, English, or we are speaking in that particular language. We're speaking, thinking, dreaming, and it is also the means of our earning as well. So how did this particular language originate, and what is the source, or who are the people who first used this particular language? We are trying to trace that back. Okay, that's why it is the early history of Britain. Once upon a time, that particular land, which is right now known as England, was an open land which was occupied by few of the nomadic people or the tribal people who are known as the Celts. They are from the group called Celts, C-E-L-T-S. Okay. They came to England somewhere in 43 BC, before 43 AD. 43 means after the birth of Christ. After 43 years of Christ's birth, we had a kind of information that we derived from the religious books during that time, that during 43 AD, AD means after birth of Christ, or it is actually Latin term which means Anno Domini, basically after the birth of Christ. BC means before the birth of Christ. Okay. So after 43 years, it was been noted in some of the religious book of Britain that, okay, it was the tribe called Celts, C-E-L-T-S, Celts or Celts, who occupied the land for the first time, who came there to cultivate some of the, you can say, some of the lands. They stood over there and they collected some cords as well. And once it was finished, they shifted to another place. But they found that the land is very affluent with what? With so many things that can lead their lives smoothly, like minerals were there, cords were there, shelter was also there. Okay, that's why they settled over there and stand and make that particular as their homeland. When these particular people cells came there, they were speaking into their own language or in their own language, and that was known as Celtic language. Okay, the language these people speaking was known as Celtic language.
Sir, which paragraphs are you are telling?
I am not telling on one particular paragraph. I am giving you an overview from page number 43 to 46. So I'm giving you a history an overview of page number 43 to 46. So if you read that 2 or 4 pages, you will get to know. It is not completely written there, but I am talking about it with some other sources. Okay. This is the prehistory of English language and England. So let me complete it. Okay. Isn't it easy to understand that once upon a time England was an open land when nobody was there, and it's very true that okay, the population was also not as it is right now throughout the world. So maybe 5 or 6 people were there in a tribe, and they came across that particular place and they settled down there, and they had also their own language, right? But during the time, what was happening? One tribe was actually capturing or attacking other tribe. During the time, they were using, very sharp metals to attack other tribes, to attack animals, to make them their food, right? So these Celtic tribes were afraid of others' attacks that were happening during that time. That was very common during that. People were looting, plundering, okay? Celtic peoples were conquered or attacked the Roman Empire. Roman Empire means people from Rome, or people, those who are speaking right now Latin language. So people attacked this particular land that is known as England right now, ruled over these Celtic peoples for almost
Excuse me,
400
sir.
years. Yes,
Sir,
yes,
I am
ma'am.
unable to understand. Your voice is breaking, sir.
My voice is breaking, so can you please mute yourself because others
Yes,
are not complaining.
No, your voice is breaking, sir.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
Your voice is breaking,
Okay.
sir.
yes, sir. Your voice is
Okay.
breaking.
Okay. Please let me know if it is breaking. Let me know if it is breaking. Just wait for 1 minute. Okay. So tell me, is it breaking? Say,
Yes, sir. Breaking, sir.
It's still breaking, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is
Breaking, sir. Your voice.
due to lack of network issue. I think so.
to lack of network issue. Just a minute. I'm joining and I'm disconnecting. Safia Begum and Soujanya, please mute your mic. Is it audible right now?
No, sir.
Not clear, sir.
Not really, sir.
Not clear, sir.
Still not clear. Okay. Okay, just a minute. Please don't leave the call. I'm joining back.
Okay.
Mute your mute everyone.
All of you. Yes, please. Any response?
Not clear, sir.
Still not clear, sir.
Mute yourself. Everyone mute yourself. Please.
See, maybe all because not because I have full network in the same right now.
Somebody's noise is coming. Mute yourselves. Please, Saujanya, mute yourself.
Yes, good evening once again. Am I audible right now?
It's better now.
Yes, sir.
It's better, right? So what I was saying about, we have 2 units in block 2, 3 units in block 2. In first 2 units, it's all about the English language and from where this particular English language has actually come from. That means we have to talk about the language families. Like we have so many language families, and the root is actually Indo-European languages. So from where this language actually descended, we talk about that. But before talking about that, let's first know about the historical background about the people, those who were speaking this particular language. Okay. So I was talking about the Celtic peoples, those who settled down in England, somewhere near almost you can get like 200, 2000 and
200.
Excuse me to all of you. Am I audible once again? Let me ask you the question because it is disconnecting
So you're still listening.
again and
Your
again.
your voice is breaking badly, Hussein sir.
I'm sorry to say, but I don't know. Maybe there is a problem with this system because it never happens with me. You do one thing, right? You go through once that page number 43 and let me take time. Let me, check the voice once. Okay, let me refresh it, and if there is any problem, let me talk with the coordinators. Okay, so you please go through the page number 43, 44, and 45, if it's possible within 10 to 20 minutes. Just go through once, and if you have any doubt, I'll solve it. Okay.
Sure.
Yes, please. Please do it.
క్లాస్ రావట్లేదు.
Yes. Now, if you go through it, please let me know.
హలో,
Am I audible to all of you? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Am I
Yes.
audible to all of you?
No, sir.
Yes. Did you go for the phone? Still, I'm not audible.
You're audible, but your voice is faking.
Okay. I'm audible, but my voice is breaking. So, what do you understood when going through the page? Can anyone please tell me what have you understood?
Your voice is breaking, sir.
Your voice is breaking, sir. We can't hearing you clearly.
Am I audible or not? Please let me know right now. Yes.
Sir, you're audible. My just kind suggestion that you can start with the screen sharing and the captions are clearly visible so that you can follow with the instructions. Please go on with the class, sir. A kind request.
Okay, madam. Yes, so what we are actually talking is we are talking about the evolution of language and we are talking about the early situation that we speak use. There are some of inhabiting that particular is from 2000 ago. They were known as people. They were also known as they were also known as Britons, Britons. Okay, so this Celtic other Britons. After them, only that particular land was named as Britain. Number 43 after the birth of Jesus Christ, After 43 years, Roman Empire, the empire, people those were talking about. Yeah, people those who were talking about talking in Latin language from Rome, those people once attacked that particular tribe in England and they conquered that particular land. Once they conquered that land, these people were actually the victim of this particular, you can say, the civilization. The Roman civilization is the oldest civilization, much older than English civilization. So they captured that particular land and they were dominating in terms of everything, in terms of language, in terms of food habits, in terms of culture, everything. So these people actually accepted their dominance because they were also safe under this kind of dominance. So that others can't attack them, only they will live under the slavery of these Roman people. So they were also happy, and this is how almost like 400 years were actually spent. Okay. And these people become habituated to live their life under the dominance, under the control, under the rule of the Roman people. But what happened, this kind of attack was not actually happening in England. People were not only attacking the land now known as England, this land was also attacked or invaded by other tribes like Vikings, other tribes like Anglos, Saxons, and Jutes. Okay. So what happened during the time, if you will mute your mic, sorry for the disturbance because since the beginning it's disturbing again and again. I have full network. So we were talking about the Roman Empire who once captured this Celtic people of England. These people were habituated to be under the rule of these Roman people because they are also getting some positive feedback or you can say that okay, they were also felt them safe under the rule of Roman Empire because it was a huge empire. King Augustus was also there during the times. They came to rule and they conquered the particular land. And these people were happy that okay, they are at least even though they are conquered, even though they are living under the rule, under the colonialism of some particular tribe or particular civilization, they are happy because other tribes are not actually attacking them constantly as they were attacking them when they were alone into that particular land. So later on, what happened? These attacks were not common in England, but these attacks were also common in other subcontinents. Uh, you can say the continent, Europe. So in the Roman Empire, some where people came, like King Augustus, who came to England to rule this particular land, they were also having some kind of act in their own motherland, that is Rome. So it's very obvious, it's very easy that okay, if someone is trying to loot your house and you also have captured someone's house, so you will try to save your house first rather than you capture others' house. So that's what happened, and these Roman people actually left that particular land 440, almost like 400 or 450 next particular time. They left the once again these Celtic people, those who were living under the rule of this those who were living under the rule of these Roman people felt uh, very poor. They were under, you know, they can say poor sanity, poor lifestyle, because once it happened that okay, you have make yourself or make your life habituated under the rule of a particular thing. Once they will leave, it will be very, you know, you can say difficult to lead a life happily in that way. So what happened during that time again? They were also getting other attacks from other tribes. So that's why they told the nearby tribes. They told three nearby tribes whose name were Anglo Saxon and Jews. This is written in second for third line, that arrival of Anglo Saxon and Jews. So these people also, and they took the charge of that particular land. They become the king and queens of that particular land. But out of all the three tribes, Anglo Saxon and Jews, Angles and Saxons were the most, stronger, or you can say, in the fighter people of that time. And Jews were little, weak in that case. So the Anglo section took most of the part of the land that is called England, and the other tribe, that is Jews, they almost drove themselves to the parallel sides of that particular land that is known as Britain or England. During this time, they took the help of this Anglican section, and these two tribes become the dominant part of England for upcoming 6 or 500 years. Okay. Now, these people also had their own language, culture, or food habit, everything. Now, once the Celtic people were dominated by the Roman people, now they are being dominated by the Anglo-Saxon and Jews. Actually, similarly as we have in Indians, the people those whom we are calling the SCSTs, okay, the Dravidians, they are actual ancestors of India. But in North India, if you go, or in South India, we have a kind of, believe that okay, the people those who were speaking in Sanskrit language, they are the actual inhabitants of India. But it's not true. People those who were speaking Indo-Aryan, not Iranian. In the North India, most of the people are speaking Indo-Iranian language. But our language, the Indian language, is Indo-Aryan. Or from here we have Indo-Dravidian language. Okay. So we will talk about that later on as we are running out of time. Let me just give you a brief intro about this one. So once these people were living under the rule of Roman emperor, now they are living under the rule of Anglo-Saxon and Jews. Okay. Now these people also had to attack our lands as well, as they were the warrior group. Okay, they were the warrior group, Anglo and Saxon. So they drove the Jews to the parallel spaces of that particular land, and similarly they were also doing with the Celtic people. Those who are right now the people of Ireland, Scotland, and you can not Scotland. Okay, so these people are actually the descendant of the Celtic peoples. Okay, so that's why we have United Kingdoms. We don't have a particular country called England. So they are taking all this Scotland, Ireland, and Wales and part of it. Okay, because those were actually ancestors of particular lands. So this will not talk about. After that, we all have Viking attacks, those who came from Denmark. So these people came and they were also land in this there. And in 1066, maybe near 1066, Vikings attacks completed, and then again we had an attack called Conquest, where a king came from Norway, okay, France, and he conquered the particular land for in the king of the particular time, that is William Conqueror. So he killed the England, British king, and then he captured that particular land. And this is how so many, battles, many takeovers, turns. Because of that, English had a very, very good, foreign influences. English was not a language, or English is not a language that was once from one particular language. It was not a language of England. It was a language of this Germanic tribes who came from Germany, like Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, like the Celtic people. Celtic people have their own language. Angles have their own language. Now, that particular land which we are calling right now as England is a land named after these people called. So Angles land is called England, and Angles language is known as English. You got it? Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So this was the prehistory, and let me tell you one more thing is that when these Celtic people came, they had their own language. When these Roman people came, they left their own influence, the Romanian influence or Latin influence upon the Celtic peoples. Now the Celtic people is still there. You can say after 2000 years, people those were living in Ireland, those people whom we are calling Irish, Scotland is okay. So these people are actual individuals of the particular land. So these people were coming from the North Germany or South Germany. So they from that particular place to this particular place because of their shifting cultivation from one place to another. Okay, to live their life happily from one place to another to gather foods, shelter, and all these things. So the Celtic people had the influence of Roman people, the Angles, Saxon, and Jews. Then later on, Christianity came. Christianity means Saint Augustine, who came at 597 AD to spread or to preach about Christianity. People believe because these people, Anglo-Saxon, Jews, and Christians, all these people are nomadic. They didn't have any belief about God. They even didn't know that who is God. Okay? So these Christian people came and they taught them, okay, that okay, this is Christianity. We have a God who has created us. So they made them believe that okay, to be honest, there is a God who has created the entire world, and now we are here to pray or to pray for him or to make us devote into the praise of the part created. So they taught them Christianity, they taught them English, not English actually, during that it was Hebrew. Hebrew was the language in which the Bible was actually there. So they taught them that one and they taught them in Latin language. So they also have a Latin influence. Later on, when Christianity came, when Saint Augustine came, that time they had a Christian. So many Christian words or the words related to devotion, praise God, fear, sin, all these things were actually salvation included into English dictionary or English, communication. So when Engels came, they also had a such kind of communication. They also brought their own languages because these people were not settled in one particular place for a long time. They were such a people, those who always try to loot and plunder other lands. So whenever they loot a particular land, they stay, they stay for some time into that particular land, and they not even actually taking the resources of that particular land. They also have access their own language. So this is how a lot of influences had happened into English language, and right now language that we have has its own existence after a lot of changes. If you will go to ancient English, that is the old English, you won't be able to read that. Later on, we have a lot of changes in terms of grammar, in terms of, okay. So in terms of vowel shapes, in terms of spelling shapes, and later on in 1980 or 1970, 86, we have divided or we have decided that okay, we will have a international phonetic alphabets, international phonetic and association. And based on that, we categorize that okay, throughout the world, we whatever the languages are, there will be some fixed sounds, and based on that, we will speak. The languages will have their own sound. Maybe some of them have 40 sounds, some of them have 10 sounds. but most of the sounds will be common in all the languages. Okay? So this was actually the origin of that particular language, that is England, and these are the ancestors of English people. If you go through the page, that is 43, 44, 45, you will go to on that, and tomorrow we will talk about without any kind of disturbances like this. I don't know why this kind of disturbance had happened today. So tomorrow we will have kind of disturbances, and we will talk about the language families. Okay, how this particular language, that is English, has descended from Indo-European, then Germanic, then we have Australian language like Frisians, Anglo-Frisians, Dutch. So there are many languages. So we'll try to make a tree diagram so that we can understand easily that okay, from where this particular language has descended. And then we will also talk about the grammatical, that is the evolution of language. That is the second part. Okay, the second part. In that we will talk about the inflections, the grammatical changes that happened during the time, how this particular English language that we are speaking right now is in this form. Okay, how was the language of the old English language when this Anglo-Saxon people or Celtic people were living during the time at 3 AD or almost like 1 AD or 2 AD. Okay, how the language had changed, because there is a movement, it's called Great Vowel Shift, that happened in between 1100 to almost like 1500. That is the Middle Ages, during the Middle Ages when Renaissance happened. You might have heard of this word Renaissance, rebirth or reawakening, relife, that happened during the time of 1400 to 1600. So because of this, we had a lot of changes in English language, and these are not the only influences from where the English language got their influence, like from Latin, English sections. We also have many other influences because English people had a tendency to look other lands, to major colonies in other lands. So that's how they also once went India for 200 years, and they also not only colonized us, they also have learned something from our culture, and we have learned so many things from their cultures. So that's how we also can find that okay, English has all influence of Indian descent. Okay, so this is how we can say that English has got its influence and get its existence for the present currency that it is right now. Okay, I'm in a mode of hurry only because we are running out of time and we had lost much of the time because of some technical issues. If you have any doubt regarding this, tomorrow we will discuss it, and hopefully we will all have any kind of problem that we are facing right now. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Sen.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. At the end, it was audible, right? Okay. Thank you so much for your cooperation, because I didn't want to do any kind of disturbance, but due to maybe some technical issues, what is the issue, I don't know. But okay, you go through it once again. Tomorrow we will talk about English family, and we didn't even talk about the types of non-verbal communication. So I will also talk about them. If you want to go through it, we also go through, because we have maybe 6 classes total, up to 7 or 8 in the next month. So we have to finish it anyway. This is not a big deal to finish because the topics are very easy, and we don't have any topic related to where we need a lab to practice. So we have some restrictive topics, we can complete it, but we have to be with me and you have to ready to read whatever I will suggest you to read. Okay, so please go through once, that is unit number 4. Okay, from block 2. It will be easy for you, so for when we will discuss it. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.